Hi, welcome to our mini series on COVID-19 pivot strategies. Today, we're going to look at this from the franchisor's perspective. We have the pleasure to interview Mr. Joe Andreula of CKO Kickboxing. He will be interviewed by Mr. Ed Teixeira, who is the COO of Franchise Grade, a franchising market research company. Ed?
Joe, thanks a lot for joining us. I'm here with the founder of CKO Kickboxing, and we're very pleased to have Joe join us. We're trying to speak to as many different franchisors as possible, and yesterday we interviewed someone who's a multi-unit franchisee. So it's nice Joe, for you to join us. And I understand you have about 60 plus locations throughout the country.
We're actually up to 92 now in
92,
states.
Wow.
Right.
You'll have to update that website. That's pretty good. That's excellent.
Thank you. And thanks for having me.
How are your franchisees doing generally?
Generally right now or before this happened?
No, I'm saying now since the COVID-19 took place.
Sure. We're doing good. We're staying focused. We've been telling them to treat this as the preseason, like preseason football, because a lot of businesses are treating this like the off season. This is the preseason. As soon as we get the go ahead to open, that's going to be like opening day. So we're getting focused, making the most out of our downtime. So we've been staying focused on productive things, and we've done that since day one of hearing about this.
Yeah, I know. I was on one webinar, and there was a gym operator on, and he said that he's been able to salvage about 70% of his business, his clients, because they have a lot of virtual programs. Mm-hmm. Have your franchisees been able to do anything that way, online or virtual, et cetera?
Yes, we've been doing a lot of virtual, and it's really ranged. Some of the clubs initially just shut off the payments and gave them the virtual for free. Other clubs gave them a little bit more in addition to the virtual, some one-on-one and some nutrition coaching. And then some of them just had members who just said, hey, I'll pay now and freeze my time, when I come back, so it helps you out because they're loyal to the club. But we've been doing a lot of virtual, and we're going to do even more starting in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, that's great. Now you have some franchisees in areas that are opening up, like Georgia or Arizona or some other states in the South.
Well, we have we're in Omaha, Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, and Texas, Houston, and San Antonio. They're getting to go ahead to open up pretty soon. I heard possibly by the end of this week, if not, in 2 weeks. So we're getting them ready to open.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I've actually been to Lincoln, Nebraska in the middle of the winter. It's pretty cold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Have your franchisees generally been able to retain a good portion of their business, or how are they doing generally?
Yes. We have some that are doing the live videos that they've subscribed to, and they want to keep doing it. Some of them half the price. But a lot of them have also just froze the members and told them you're going to get the time. So the members are just waiting for us to reopen, and they're going to get that free time if they build them for the month. Otherwise, we're just going to restart them up. But even in one case, we had one franchisee that not a single person canceled.
Wow, that's great. That's fantastic. What do they have typically for members, approximately on average? How many members would a typical CKO have?
We really range in size. We could go from a couple of hundred to over 1,000, depending on the size. We varied on the demographic area, the footprint of each.
Wow, that's really something. Now, are you doing anything with lead gen at all in terms of growing your system, or are you sort of put it on pause, or how are you dealing with that?
We've reduced the online ads to save money at this time. But we still, one of the big things we do is we look out for people who would be a good match, who can really has the passion to run CKO Kickboxing Club, and we kind of reach out to them. So that's an unusual lead gen, but that's what we do a lot.
Yeah, I think generally, having been in the industry a long time, it's probably wise for franchisors to sort of, gear it down a little bit, because you've got franchisees, as you well know, are out there struggling. And I guess sometimes they might resent the franchisor just going out and spending, a lot of their capital on lead gen when they're trying to struggle. So I really think it's a smart decision for people like yourself to sort of, steer it down a little bit. Apart from the fact that, franchise grade, we get a lot of leads because of our site, and even that slowed down. So apart from that fact, I think it's really a very good message for your franchisees to see that happen. Now, have you had to provide any financial relief to your franchisees, any kind of royalty abatement or ad funding or anything like that?
Well, we deferred as of the second half of March 16th, because most of them got shut down around middle March. We deferred it, even though they had some members that were still paid or went onto the online platform. We deferred this next 6 weeks, and possibly longer, till the second month after they open, so they get back on their feet, and then they can start, making the payments on that. But we deferred it.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because that's another, they say that the franchisees as well as the customers are going to remember who did what during this crisis. And I think it's a good idea. Some franchisors I don't think have done very much. Others have done a lot more. So I think that's commendable, and it's really smart. It's smart franchise relations as well. How do you see the future of, the fitness industry right now, and the restaurant sector have been hit pretty hard? How do you see the future? Pretty promising, once things get back to some degree of normalcy.
Yeah, we're going to have to be creative with solutions. That's the key, because when, if you rented a 5,000 square foot studio, you were anticipating, the reason you rented 5,000 and not 2,500 square feet, because you could pay the rent for 5,000, you were anticipating, say, 50 members at a time. Now you're going to be working with 2,500 square feet, so we're going to have to get very creative. We'd also have to get a lot more cleaning and a lot more, protocols done. So we're expecting the next 6 months to a year to do a lot more, but we'll, weather the storm and get creative and get through this. I know some businesses have a lot worse than the gyms.
Yeah, what kind of equipment do you have? I see the heavy bags. Do you have any other kinds of equipment in your gyms typically?
That's the main thing, is the heavy bag. We do have some, stuff we use for personal training, functional training, but it's mainly classes, and we do small group classes and personal training also, but it's mainly classes. Everybody gets their own bag. So, for example, where bags are 3 feet apart, they would have to go every other bag, for instance, make it 6 feet.
Right.
We'll have to put people into classes. We'll have to add more classes, and we'll complement, live classes with these for people that can't book in. If we can only take, say, 25 in a class and it's booked, have a live stream also at the same time for the people at home that couldn't book in at that time.
Do you have any treadmills at all?
No.
See, that's good, Joe, because I think simple is going to be better in the gyms that, the gyms that have the treadmills and the bikes, etc. They can't have the treadmills next to each other, obviously. So I think your concept, personally, I think it'll probably be okay, because you've got a simpler one, and you can adapt a lot easier than some of the, these big gyms. It's going to be tough for them. So that's good. I think you should be in good shape. Have you applied for any of the financing at all, a PPP or any of that the SBA has?
Only for my own gym that I personally own, because obviously my got shut down. So I didn't get it the first round. I'm trying to get it again the second round. I didn't see anything available for franchisors.
Yeah, you may be right. I'm not sure. But you may as well give it a shot anyway. Anything else that you'd like to add? You've done very well, and 90 plus location franchisees. That's great. Do you have primarily unit franchisees, or do you have any multi-unit owners?
We have several multi-unit. Typically, they have like 3 partners for 3 locations.
Oh, I see. Right.
So we don't have a lot that have multiple, like with a married couple or something that would have 2. It's more of they have multiple partners, and the way to, expand was to open multiple units in their area.
Right.
Sort of
Right.
area, share the
Right.
instructor marketing between the 3.
What market seems to be the best for you? Is there any particular geographic area where you do better than others, or?
Well, we adjusted to the demographic area. We've done well in the urban areas, the inner cities, suburban, and the rural. We just adjust. Before I franchised, I owned 16 of my own locations, and they were in all sorts of areas, from very rural to where I started in Hoboken, which is a city area, and so I had a lot of experience with the different markets, and so we're in all of them. And they can vary. You got a lot lower overhead in the rural and suburban areas than the city. So you might have a lot more members of revenue in the city, but it's a lot more risk because you have so much more overhead that you have to meet each month.
Yeah, like the rental costs on Long Island, which tend to be pretty high. Do you have any franchisees on the island?
In Lindenhurst, yes, and we're
Oh,
looking
yeah.
at.
Okay.
Yeah, we used to be on Sunrise Highway in Copac, and we moved to Lindenhurst to a bigger location in a shopping center January 1st of this year. And we've been looking at Nassau, but we were negotiating a spot, and this happened, so we're going to renegotiate and see what happens with that one. But we're looking to open in Nassau presently also.
Yeah, Suffolk could be pretty good, I think. Suffolk's much larger in terms of geography. And, the thought just came to me. With what's happening to the industry, I think retail space is going to go down because we have so many strip centers on the island. Some of these businesses aren't going to be able to recover, so you may be able to get a good deal on some, on some rentals, or the franchisees would, I should say.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't see any other way. I mean, it's going to be tough for the near future, so they might want to make a deal with an established business or franchise. So
yeah,
I
I agree. That's a very good point. Anything else you'd like to add at all, Joe?
And the main thing for anybody else, a franchise or business anyway, this is going to make the real leaders and entrepreneurs really stand up at this time. I mean, this is against, any business plan you're putting down. You're figuring out how many square feet, how much revenue you're estimating. Nobody's estimating 0 revenue. Nobody's estimating using half of your space. So it's going to bring out the best and most creative people. And I think in downtime, studying leaders in crisis, reading books on that. We have 3 calls a week for franchisees, Monday and Wednesday for the franchise, and then a breakout session, either assigned Thursday or Friday, to give their feedback. But we want to keep developing as a leader, because that's what people are going to want to be around when this is cleared. Leaders that have developed positive communities in whatever they're doing.
Yeah, you made a very, very good point, Joe. It's all about having been in the industry so long. It is about taking a leadership position, instilling confidence and optimism in them, and most importantly, listening to what they're doing right now and how they're involved and what challenges they have. I think that's the franchisors that do that. I think they're going to be the ones that'll come out of this a lot better, and they'll certainly have a lot more credibility when they go out to franchise their system and expand it, and candidates call up existing franchisees. I think they'll definitely get a good validation because they'll be able to point to how well they've been led through the most unprecedented crisis we've ever had. So that's terrific. Well,
Right,
Joe, thanks a lot. I have to give a shout out to Harold Kestenbaum, your attorney. We go back a long, long way. So thanks so much, Joe. Really appreciate it. Continued success. Good luck.
Thank you.
And I hope you get up to 120 next time we speak.
Thank you. And best of luck to you all.